girls, my name's Tom Dyer and I'm on SlickBartender's channel. We are here at the Nightclub and Bar Show 2019. I've got my tiki shakers and today here on Vlad's channel I'm going to show you 5 show flare moves which you can use in an exhibition like this. You can use it behind the bar or you can use it anywhere you're going to be performing a show. Now these 5 moves are crowd pleasing moves. They're moves which people can understand and most of them are pretty easy to pick up. Some of them are quite difficult, but I'm going to show you different stages on how you can progress to the hard level. Okay, so move number 1 is called the helicopter on the... Okay, so move number 1 is the helicopter on the tin. This is a very, very big show-stopping move, and I'm going to show you the 3 levels of getting this done. Okay, first of all, what you want to do is place the bottle onto the shaker, just here, and just get used to balancing it. And what's going to happen is that bottle is going to spin on the shaker like this. So the first thing you need to do, level 1, is literally holding the bottle there, and then you're going to push the neck of the bottle. Now you want the middle of the bottle would be there, but you don't want it on the shaker like that. You want it about there, the middle of the body of the bottle. And you can start just by doing this. And if you're using one of these plastic bottles, it grips onto the shaker as well, so it's easier to perform. Once you get better at doing it with the plastic one, then move on to the glass, because that's going to spin on the shaker a lot more. So you're going to spin it, and then you've got to get used to balancing that bottle, because as it spins, it's going to move on top of the shaker. So the more you get better at balancing that bottle on the shaker, the rest of the moves become a lot easier after that. So that's how you start. Then you want to start just by pushing it. So you're going to hit the neck of the bottle with your fingers. Okay. Then the next step would be to throw it. So then you have to perfect what we call the helicopter throw, which is basically throwing the bottle up, doing a horizontal spin with the bottle so it flies horizontally, and then you're going to catch it on the shaker. Now the trick to this is not learning how to do that throw, because you'll be able to get that pretty easy. It's catching the bottle onto the shaker without it smashing like this. So it's the same way as if you was going to do a handstand, you would cushion that catch. So you would gently land it on top of the shaker and not just let it hit the shaker. So as it goes up, you gently catch it and then you practice that balance, okay? So it'd be a throw, catch, and the balance. And then once you get that, you can move on to throwing it from behind your back, and whichever other position that you can find to do it. Cool, so I'm using today for this move, for these moves, this is a plastic fly bottle. I'm using it, it's unbreakable. It helps you be able to practice this move really easily. And once you've perfected it with this plastic bottle, you can move on to a glass bottle. But don't be using a full bottle. You don't want to use a full bottle. You want to make sure there's just like 1 ounce or 25 mils of liquid in there. That means you can perform this move without doing any spillages. Okay, so make sure you're not using a full bottle, only with a little bit in the bottom, and make sure to cushion that catch so you're not going to smash the bottle either. Okay, the next move was made famous by a guy called Nicholas St. John, and this move is what I call a smart move, because everybody looks at it and goes, oh, why didn't I think to do that? Because how many times have you tried to catch the bottle on your arm and gone, whoa, 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 okay? And the bottle kind of loses balance and goes on the edge, all right? That's what you want to do. You want to practice that balance on the edge. And the way you do that, you can do it this way or you can do it this way. Nicholas does it this way. I like to do it this way. And I'll tell you why. Because what you can do is you can just put your finger on the ball spout and find the sweet spot of the balance. And what you want to do is you want to look at the top of the bottle, okay? So when you're balancing it, you're looking at the top of the bottle and you're just slowly adjusting your arm to adjust for the counterbalance of the bottle. And you get that balance there. And you have to remember, the most important thing is you have to remember to breathe and not panic when you're doing this move. It is about keeping relaxed and keeping still and just zen. Okay, all right, then the next level, once you've nailed it with the bottle, is you can try and do it with the shaker. Now I find it easier to do it with the shaker upside down. You find the balance, here we go. So a lot more difficult, and those moves have to be really, really small to be able to get the move, but with practice you'll be able to get it, all right? Try it out, let us know how you're getting on, whack it in the comments box below if you've got any questions. The next move when you're performing this in front of a crowd which doesn't understand flair, it's a repetitive move, so they can count with what you're doing and they can see what's happening because it keeps repeating, and they're bumps, okay? Now I'm going to show you two variations. I'm going to show you the hand bump, all right, which looks like this. Okay, and then you have the forearm bump, which looks like this. Okay, the hand bump is quite simple to perfect. All you need to do is get your hand stool. You need to kind of perfect the hand stool first, and then you give it a flick, and you flip it again. So you need to get used to doing that with the bottle, and the better you become at this move, it then becomes just a routine, like a pattern where you just keep pushing it. And you have to make sure that you're cushioning the catch each time and pushing it up and keeping the bottle moving. If you keep the bottle moving, it won't hurt your hand as much, and it's just about focusing on putting your hand in the right place. Now also what I'm doing is I'm slightly bending my knuckles a little bit to give it that extra push, that extra flick, okay? So try it out. Your hand may hurt a little bit at the beginning, but take it slow, all right? And make sure you're using like a bottle which has only got like an ounce in it, or an empty bottle to begin with, even a plastic bottle to start with, so that you're not gonna hurt your hands. Of course, it's very important that when you're doing this move, focusing on not hurting your hand, okay? This is sensitive around here, and you may get a couple of bruises if you're not doing it correctly. Take your time, go slow with it, and then the better you become at the move, the quicker you're gonna be able to get this. The more resilient your hand is gonna get to performing this move. So take it slow, work on 2 or 3 at once first, 1, 2, and then you work on building it up so you can continue it moving, and then you'll be able to do it more and more and more and more. The next step from that is what we call the forearm bump. Now the best way you start to learn this move is you're gonna hold the bottle like this in the palm of your hand, and you're gonna just sort of grip it with your fingers, so just right here, and then you're gonna throw it ever so gently up, and then you're gonna just straighten your arm out. And then the bottle will spin like this. Don't worry about trying to catch it for now. You're just gonna bump it like that so you can understand how it works. You wanna be hitting the bottle right here on your arm where the muscle is, okay? Okay, you can also start whilst holding the bottle with your other hand. So if you have your arm here, you hold the bottle, you want it at a slight angle like this, and then you're gonna go like this with your arm, as if you're punching someone in the stomach, I guess. And you wanna get this motion right here. Okay, so as you drop the bottle, you straighten your arm, and you'll see the bottle kind of start to spin, all right? And as it spins and you get better, you can then try and hit it twice. And then you can try and keep going with the bottle. This is a repetitive move, and it is one which practice makes perfect. So the more you practice it, the more perfect you get. But again, give your arm time to rest, okay? Make sure you're not overdoing it. Take your time with the move. Slowly, baby steps before you start trying to hit 20 or 30 bumps in a row. Okay, the next move is, well, it's not really a move, but it's a theory which you can use when you're performing in front of other people. This is how you can get them involved in what you're doing. Now, I do a move where I catch the bottle on my chin, like this. And then what you can do, you can do it from here as well. So if you wanted to start from this position, you learn to balance it, and then what you want to do is you want to give the guys a countdown. So they'll be like 3, 2, 1, and then you drop the bottle down and catch it in another position. This gives them a chance to interact with what you're doing, and then it also gives them a bit of suspense as well. So the first simpler one would be from the reverse forearm, right here. Be like 3, 2, 1. Okay, and you can do this with a full bottle as well. It's more impressive with a full bottle, and if you get really good at it, you take the bore spout out so it has nothing in the top. That's quite difficult, so don't go too crazy with that one just yet, all right? Now, if you want to go to the level of balancing it on your chin, what you want to do to start with is learn to balance it on your chin. So you're here, and what you're looking at is you're looking at this part of the bottle when you're looking up, okay? And the more you start to do that, the more you're going to get those movements with your neck and your head to balance the bottle. And then you can do that countdown again. So it'll be
Bartender. 3, 2, 4. We get the lucky bartender. 3, 2, 4.
Okay, so also when you are balancing something on your chin, or you can, even if you start to try and do it on your head, start off by having your hands sort of near the bottle. So if it starts to fall off, you can catch it, all right? This is a bottle which you would do with a bowl empty, or a bottle with the lid on top, okay? But you'd start just, again, baby steps, okay?
We're a bit slow.
Okay, so if it starts to fall, your hand's there ready to catch it. Only when you become more advanced at the move can you start taking your hands away. Okay, and then getting the crowd involved with that as well.
What's going today?
Okay, the fifth and final move, it leads on to a signature move that I used to do on stage. And again, it's a super deluxe crowd pleasing move. If you've got a bar which you can stand on, you can do it on the bar, but be careful. Don't go standing on any wet bars or grip mats and slipping off. And it's also a move where you will need to stretch a little bit to make sure that you can perform this move. So I'm going to show you the end result, and then we're going to backtrack so you can see where you can, how you get there. So the end result would look like this. I'm going to use two different bottles. So that the end result would be like this. Okay, so when you're doing this move, don't be disheartened if you can't get it. I've got really long arms, okay, but I have seen people get this with enough practice, with enough stretching. So don't worry if you can't get it first go. If it takes a bit of time, it takes a little bit of time. People can get it. It doesn't do need to have long arms sometimes, but it will work. Okay, so where you start off with is get yourself a small shaker like this. This is Tom's Tiki shaker. And you're gonna do the handstand right here. And you're gonna start off by, I'm gonna turn around quickly, just by doing one shaker behind the back. You wanna make sure your t-shirt is out of the way. And then you bring it up here, okay? It's important that you keep your hand flat. And when you're starting to do this move, you can even just do it without anything on your hands, just so you can practice the movement. So then you bring the shaker and turn around one more time. And get used to doing that. Like I said at the beginning, make sure you're doing some kind of stretching so you're not going to injure your back and injure your muscles. But then when you get better at this, then you move on to a bigger shaker, okay? And then you do the move one more time. And you can start flicking it up from once that position. So once you're there, you can start flicking it up. And then when you get better, you can try and do it with the opposite hand. So you can hold one and do it the opposite way around, all right? The next step after that will be to get two shakers going. But put the tool shaker in your second hand, I'll explain that in a second, and the small shaker in your right hand. So you do, so you do the tool shaker first, and then the small shaker, because that's easier. So you go underneath, there's more space. And then you come up here. And then from there you can try flick and catch. Okay, so when you're going to be doing double hands, I'm going to take one, I'm going to pretend I've got one here for now. So when that one comes around, the hard part is moving this one around because you've already got one balanced, and then you need to put this one lower. So the weaker hand, so I'm right-handed, my left hand goes first, all right? And then my stronger hand will go second, okay? And my left hand, you can kind of use to support your back a little bit, and then you'll come underneath your left hand with your right hand, okay? But find out what works for you. Try it both ways. Try it with small items on your hand first. You can even try it with juggling balls to begin with and see how you get that, and then you move up to the different objects until you can get to doing two objects. Last thing I will say is if you're going to put two items onto the backs of your hands as a stool, there is an easy way to do this, where you do one here,
like this.
you do two on your hands like this, and you separate like that, okay? So you would put two here, put your hand underneath, and then just move them into, and then just move them into place, and then you can start balancing them, all right? Guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much, SlickBartender, for allowing me to come onto your channel. This has been awesome. I've also got a channel if you want to go and check it out. It's Dyer Bartender. There'll be a link in the description below where you can go and find out about that. I'm teaching flair moves, cocktails, flair with cocktails. So try it out, let me know what you think. With these moves, practice them hard, practice them smart, okay? Don't jump to the difficult moves straight away. Make sure you start from the basic and work your way up. And if you've got any comments, put it in the comments box below, all right? Because that's what it's there for, to ask us questions about what's going on. Don't forget to subscribe to the channels. And finally, these moves, they are good for show moves, okay? It gets the crowd going, gets them screaming, gets them intrigued into what you're doing behind these little stages, these little bars. So I'm gonna go and try some of them out now. Let's see how we get on.